Good morning. Tommy Morris, Words of the Week Live, February 19th, 2026. We finished chapter 16 and 17 in 1 Samuel, talking about David and exhibiting his, what I believe is his innocence conduct, his behavior that displayed, he was not burdened down with living a lifestyle of a young man of out sowing his oats, so to speak, but a man of behaved himself wisely. In this next chapter, it says that he behaved himself wisely 4 times. I'm going to start chapter 18. It says here, "And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own." I want to say this about Jonathan. In the 14th chapter, Jonathan and his armor bearer were across the valley, going up the side of a hill to a garrison of the Philistines, which they figure is about 20 men, while Saul and his army are hanging out over underneath the pomegranate tree, under the palm tree, so to speak. And Jonathan had the courage to go over there. He says, who can tell what God might do? God is able. Let me just read it real quick here. Let me do some original scrolling. Turn back a few pages. "It may be that the Lord will work for us, that there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few." Jonathan had that same spirit, that same faith in God for his nation, for the God of Israel, for the Lord of hosts, as the dignity of the Israelites. So he said, come with me. God is no respecter to save by many or by few. And David was kind of the same way when he went out to meet Goliath. Why not? I'm going out in the name of the Lord. Jonathan said, there's no restraint with God to act with many or few. David went out there. There's that same spirit with him and Jonathan, that they were knit together. There was an innocence there for their nation, a patriotic union that Jonathan and him had. So as we go on further into 18th chapter, 2 words I'm going to use today are free will, is one word, and agency. The word free will means voluntary, freedom of the will, decision to choose a course. Agency, active force, action, power. David was stepping into a world that he was not familiar with at all. He went out there on the battlefield, took on Goliath, and was victorious. But he's coming into the king's court. There's intrigue, there's all kinds of personalities, there's all kinds of jealousies, and people jockeying for position with the king, jockeying for favor. And David, in his innocence still, he's just doing what the king asked him to do. Saul had him go out in the field for another battle. David went out, very victorious. And says that when David came back, they were singing, David has slain his 10,000s and Saul his thousands. Saul was very jealous of that. David didn't understand. I was just doing what I was told. I'm going out in the name of the Lord. And I'll read it right here. It says, where it says in verse 5, "And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war." And another one here in verse 12, "And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him." And again, "Wherefore when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him." David was just doing what he had been taught, what he had learned, to live a way that is pleasing to the Lord, and his conduct and his behavior be honest, chaste, and with dignity, to live and to be honorable to the people who have rule over you. He was taught in a way that young kids today, as a role model, can see. You get cast into an environment or a situation, you rely on what you've been taught. You rely on things that have been put in you. Honesty, integrity, faith, truthfulness. You rely on those things. And as they got in David, they grew, and they gave him an armor that he just acted on it. He wasn't trying to jostle for position. He wasn't trying to gain something underhanded or do all kinds of stuff, because that was something that he could have done. There was all kinds of activities that David could have done, and he did not do it. He was given Saul's daughter in this chapter for a wife, so his innocence is about to be over, but yet his free will agency in this chapter to the very end talks about how he behaved when they were sending people to him. And it came to pass as that time that Saul's daughter should have been given to David, that she was given to another man. And Michal, Saul's other daughter, loved David, and they told Saul that the thing pleased him, and Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare unto him. David didn't know all this underhanded stuff was going on. He was just trying to do the service to the king with nobility, to be noble in his conduct, noble in his actions, noble in his thought. He didn't realize that he is having such an impact. He was just there trying to do the best he could. And when kids are raised to do the best they can, and they can really get a hold of it, in spite of what we're surrounded with, but get a hold of the doctrine, the curriculum of the teaching, the Word of God. Get a hold of that, as it appears that David did. He got a hold of it and let it get in his heart, let it grow, as Jesus was out casting the seed in the book of Matthew, and see where it took root, see where there was ground that could accept it, that it could grow. And David allowed it to grow from a young age, and it kept on being nourished out there when he was tending the sheep and being successful. So as he comes into this new world that he's in, he's not used to any of this. So he just acts what he knows to do. Kind of like with Saul's armor. Put this on and go out there and fight the king, or fight Goliath. David's not familiar with that. He says, I'll take what I'm used to, my sling and my stones. David's not familiar with this type of environment that he's been put into. So he relies on what he knows, like he did the sling and the stone. He knows his behavior. He knows the conduct. He knows the precepts and principles that his father had taught him. And the rabbi, when he was being taught, things that you should do, things that you should treat others, how you treat them. And it's not about all you can get, but what can you do for the others. As John Kennedy said, it's not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country. Not what God you can get from God, what can you do for God to glorify him and to uplift him, as David did. And another time, verse 22, Saul commanded his servants, saying, commune with David secretly, and say, behold, the king hath delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law. And Saul's servants spake these words in the ears of David. And David said, seemeth it to you a light thing to be the king's son-in-law, saying that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed? And the servants of Saul told him, saying, on this manner. And Saul said, thus shall you say unto David, the king desireth thou not a dowry. He didn't have any money. He said, I'm not requiring that. But there was all kinds of things coming at David, and stuff he wasn't familiar with. As you go out into the world, when you're a teenager and you're just getting through school, getting through high school, there's all kinds of things. The whole world's going to open up in a different picture for you. And David didn't know. He wasn't used to that. But he relied on what he had been taught. Relied on that. And that carried the day. That carried him through. That he really got Saul's attention and got everyone else's attention by his conduct. I'm going to end with this last verse, the very last verse of chapter 18. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass after they went forth that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set. He had a reputation that his integrity was up there, his honesty. He was trying to do what he had been taught to do, to honor those who have authority over you, honor the Word of God, honor his family, and most of all, honor his conscience, what he knew to do. Honor his heart, honor his God that he served, the God, as David described it like this. He described it like this: I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. And David had this hunger, and that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. As a young boy, he wanted the world to know what I'm serving. It's not just about me, but it's for everybody. It's for everyone. And he was just had an innocence to him. But that innocence ended in the 18th chapter. He was given a wife, and which is a good thing. But the next one will be part 4. So anyway, Lord, thank you for this day. We ask you to bless it. We thank you for providing it. Tommy Morris, Armor Up, Words of the Week Live. Thank you.